Welcome to the Lippert Technical Institute. I'm Charlie and I'll be your technical trainer. Today we'll be performing the aftermarket installation of the Acuva Wanderer 2.0 water purification system. Let's take a look what's inside the box. First thing, we have the Wanderer 2.0 water purification unit. Then we have an inline filter. This is an AC to DC adapter. This is your installation rail. And below we'll pull out this extra box here. And inside that we have the smart faucet and all of its accessories. This is a 1/4 inch OD to 1/2 inch PEX T shutoff valve. You have a spool of 1/4 inch outer diameter tubing. This is your DC adapter. This is a clip for your inline filter. This little bag has a few things in it. Your flow restrictor. 2 adapters for your 1/4 inch tube. This will be for both sides of your inline filter. And wood screws to help install the rail and the filter clips. Then last but not least, we have the smart faucet. The tools you'll need to perform the procedures in this video are the following: cordless drill, drill bits, assorted bits, Wagos, or you can also use appropriately sized wire nuts. Cutting shears, wire cutters, wire strippers, a utility knife, Teflon tape, adjustable wrench, tape measure, zip ties, a 5/8 drill bit, a small drill bit for a pilot hole, that's up to you, shop towels, and of course, safety glasses. There are 2 possible methods to install the Wanderer 2.0. The first method is to install it where it's dedicated to the smart faucet. The second method is to install it directly to your current faucet. You're going to need a few additional parts. You'll need a male and a female version of these adapters. We've included a shutoff valve on the cold water line. If you install this with a DC adapter, the adapter cord, you'll need a 3 amp, 250 volt inline fuse. This will help protect the electrical circuit. Before we get started, go ahead and disconnect the city water to the unit and shut off any of the shutoff valves that are inside the unit that are appropriate to the faucet. If there are, while you're working on the electricity, shut off the appropriate circuit breaker that is tied to the line that you're working on. And then lastly, discharge any of that water pressure inside the lines by opening up the valves on the faucets themselves. Once that's taken care of, we can go inside the coach and begin the installation. Now you'll notice that we've removed all the doors and panels so we can access the electricity over here and all the plumbing over here. Let's install the Wanderer 2.0 to the current faucet. To install the Wanderer 2.0, you need to take into consideration that the OD tube, the 1/4 inch tubing, can't be pinched or folded. So let's take a couple of measurements so we make sure that we have enough room for the install. So what I'm doing here is I'm measuring vertically and horizontally to get an idea of how much space I'm working with. And in this particular install, I have 14 inches vertically and 14 inches horizontally, which is plenty of room for the install. So at the highest point that I measured is the lowest point of the bottom of the sink. So I'm going to give it 4 inches and then install that DIN rail there so that the Wanderer 2.0 has plenty of room. Before you install the advanced filter, there's a couple preparation steps that you'll need to do. And that is, you need to install these 1/4 inch OD to 1/4 inch MIP adapters to it so you can slide the 1/4 inch OD tube into the filter. So let's take a look at that. There's small blue caps on here that you'll need to remove. Now, once that's ready to be installed, we'll go ahead and put Teflon tape on these adapters. We'll wrap it around a couple times, 360 degrees around the threads. Now go ahead and thread those into both ends of the advanced filter. Use a crescent wrench or an adjustable wrench to tighten it down. Now do the other side. Now the advanced filter is ready for install. When installing the advanced filter into the clip, make note of the word flow and the arrow here, which indicates that this is your inlet and this is your outlet, so you know that this is going to go to the Wanderer 2.0. There's a couple methods that you can supply power to the Wanderer 2.0, and that is with a DC adapter like this one that ties into your 12 volts of your coach, or you can use the 110 to 12 volt adapter and plug it right into a 110 outlet. To prep the DC adapter, I'm going to go ahead and strip this wire back so I have a little room. Then I'm going to prepare these 2 wires, the ground wire and the power wire, by stripping it back so we can connect these wires and the Wagos. I'll press this 3 amp fuse into the fuse holder. Now we can take the DC adapter and tie it into the wiring by using the Wago utilized for the neutral and putting the negative wire on that. Then the positive wire on the other Wago, that will tie the 3 amp fuse wiring to the 12 volt power from the coach. To finish up, we'll route the connector through the cabinetry. Let's go out to our workbench and prepare our 1/4 inch OD lines for installation on the Wanderer 2.0. I wanted to take a minute and talk about the installation of the unit here. And there's a couple different ways that you can properly install it and several that you cannot. So the first way that you can is install it on a vertical wall, just like you see it here, where you can read the words, or it can be installed on a horizontal floor in any fashions. Now, it cannot be installed like this or like this. Now, let's take a look at the hosing and install it into the unit. Let's open up this kit here. We have the hose. Now this is about 5 foot worth of hose, and we pre-measured it, so I'm gonna cut this exactly in half, and that should be roughly what I need, and we can trim it off a little bit more inside. Now, as you can see, you have your in and your out of the Wanderer 2.0, and I'll just take a hose and slide it in there until it stops. Good to go. Now let's go back in. I'll install the Wanderer 2.0 and finish up the installation of the 1/4 inch tubing. Now, I don't need as much of that hose as I thought previously, so I cut it and trim it and make it fit nicely. You're going to take that hose and push it all the way back into the filter until it stops. Next, what we're going to do is put this 1/4 inch OD to 1/2 inch MIP adapter into the cold water line so that can attach to the pre-filter. Before I install it, I'm going to put a little bit of Teflon tape around the threads here, just like I did the other one. Now thread that into the cold water pipe here. You can use a crescent wrench to finish tightening the adapter down. So next I'm going to cut the excess 1/4 inch tube off, that extra line that I had, and connect it from the cold water PEX all the way to the inlet of the filter. Now, the last thing I need to do with the install is to connect the exit port of the Wanderer 2.0 up to the faucet. And we're going to use this shutoff valve that goes from the 1/2 inch to the 1/4. On the 1/4 inch side that you're going to hook up to the tube that goes into the Wanderer 2.0, it has a compression fitting. So you're going to first put your nut over the tube and then you're going to put the compression fitting on. And tighten that down with your crescent wrench or your appropriate open end wrench. Now you may think that we forgot the flow restrictor, but we connected that, and what we're going to do is we're just going to cut that 1/4 inch tube between the Wanderer 2.0 and the faucet line. We're just going to cut that and then take both ends and insert them into the flow restrictor, paying attention to this arrow here, which is where the direction of flow will be. Done. Now we can connect the power to the Wanderer 2.0. To finish this up, we're going to test the water lines first, put the drain pipe back on, and clean up all of the power wires and the 1/4 inch tube by zip tying it. Your next step is to condition the filter and the Wanderer 2.0. So go ahead and turn the faucet on and run the water and make sure that you have no leaks, and you're going to watch the Wanderer 2.0. It'll turn green for about 30 seconds. Then run your faucet and the Acuva logo will illuminate blue, and then turn off. Now that everything is good to go, let's go ahead and install the cabinetry back in the RV. In order to install a smart faucet, we're going to go ahead and take the cabinetry back off so we can show you that installation as well. Let's install the smart faucet and tie it into the Wanderer 2.0. What you don't want to do is damage the sink or the countertop in the process of this. So what we're going to do to prevent that is we're going to take this clamp ring off here, and we're going to use it as a template where it can be installed without damaging the sink. And then we're going to make a mark, and we're going to make a pilot hole from underneath the sink straight up. That way we know exactly where the sink can clamp to the countertop without damaging anything. Now that we have the pilot hole drilled, We're going to use a 5/8 inch drill bit to drill the bore hole down from the top to the bottom. But before you do that, make sure you're wearing your safety glasses. Before we install the smart faucet, I'm going to dry fit this and make sure that the hole's big enough and that we have plenty of room. Now that that's installed properly and it looks really good, I'm going to go ahead and put these clamp rings back on. Make sure you thread that wire through that hole when you're threading the clamp ring up. Now there's two sides to this clamp ring. There's one with an O-ring and one without. The O-ring goes upward toward the bottom of the countertop. Next, we're going to install this 1/2 inch PEX to 1/4 inch OD line T shutoff valve. And what that's going to do is it's going to give us that cold water source from the RV to both the current faucet and the smart faucet. So push those 1/2 inch PEX lines all the way in until they stop inside the T shutoff valve, and then gently pull on them to make sure that it is sealed properly. Let's take this 1/4 inch hex nut and the compression ring out for later so we don't lose those. So now we're ready to install the advanced filter, but before you do, make note that the flow direction here has your inlet and your outlet. Now the inlet's going to be connected to that 1/4 inch line on the T shutoff valve, and that's going to be our next step. So I pre-cut this piece of OD 1/4 inch tube to install from the T shutoff valve to the inlet of the advanced filter. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to install this hex nut on one side of it by sliding the hex nut over the tube and then sliding the compression ring on top of that, just like that. Now this is going to hook up to the T shutoff valve, and the other end will go into the inlet of the advanced filter. So let's go ahead and install that. This 1/4 inch tube we cut, pre-cut for installation. This is going to go on the inside. Push that all the way in until it stops. Gently pull to make sure it's installed properly. Now this is going to go into the outlet of the filter. So the water goes through the filter, out of the filter, in this tube, and into the Wanderer 2.0 before it goes to the faucet. Okay, let's go ahead and install that. Now let's connect the Wanderer 2.0 to the smart faucet. We have this plastic tube support and plastic ferrule that comes from the kit. We have to install that to be able to connect to the smart faucet. You'll take the ferrule and slide it over that. It looks like a compression ring. And then take the plastic tube support and press that inside the 1/4 inch OD tube. Now you can take the hex nut and slide it over the tube, and that's going to connect to your smart faucet. Now we need to install this flow restrictor into the tube that we just installed. So we're going to cut that in half and just install the flow restrictor in there, making sure that this arrow, the flow direction, is paid attention to. This is going to point toward the faucet. Now we need to install the adapter and plug the smart faucet cord into the Wanderer 2.0. Your next step is to condition the filter and the Wanderer 2.0. So go ahead and turn the faucet on and run the water and make sure that you have no leaks, and you're going to watch the Wanderer 2.0. It'll turn green for about 30 seconds and turn off after that. Then run your faucet and the Acuva logo, and the faucet itself will illuminate blue. Now that everything is good to go, let's go ahead and install the cabinetry back in the RV. Now let's talk about maintenance, winterization, and troubleshooting. So for maintenance, it's real simple. About once a month, you're going to go underneath the sink or wherever your Wanderer 2.0 is, take a look and make sure that it's not leaking. All the connectors, the lines to it, the filters, make sure that there's no leaks. If there are leaks, tighten down the connectors and make sure that you replace the tubing if necessary. Now, as far as the inline filter, you're going to replace that per the filter label, and that's going to be right around the 6 months of usage mark. Now for winterization, this is really important. If you live near any freezing temperatures and you think it's going to go below that 40-degree mark, you're going to go ahead and winterize it. Now, water inside the unit, if it's pressurized and it freezes, it's going to expand, and that water expansion is going to damage the insides of your Wanderer 2.0 and cause leakage. So let's take a look at that. The first step in winterization, you're going to remove the pre-filter. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to remove the 2 lines from it, drain all the water out of it, and store it in a temperature-controlled environment above 40 degrees. Now there's 3 different options that you can have to winterize your unit. Option A, you're going to apply compressed air to the inlet of the Wanderer 2.0, blowing all that water out of it. Also make sure that your flow restrictor and your smart faucet doesn't have any water in it as well. So you're going to apply that pressurized air to that and blow all that water out of there. Now for option B, that's the antifreeze reagent that you can use. You're going to refer to your RV owner's manual and utilize the antifreeze that they recommend and store the unit with the antifreeze inside it. Now for option C, you're just going to remove everything. You're going to remove the appliance, the flow restrictor, and store that in a temperature-controlled environment above that 40 degrees, just like we did the inline filter. For troubleshooting, we have the indicator LED state. Let me show you something real quick. The indicator LED state refers to this logo. This is going to be different colors, which refers to a different state of the appliance. So if the indicator is off and you have no water flow, that's a normal state. That's what it's supposed to do. However, if it's off with water flow, then the unit has no power. So you're going to make sure that that 11 to 16 volts is at the unit or the appliance. If it's not, then troubleshoot that back in the coach itself and make sure you apply that power that is necessary. Or the flow direction is reversed. So you have your input here and your out here. The out goes to the faucet. This comes from the inline filter. So if these are reversed, then the water flow inside there isn't going to turn any lights on. It's going to think that there's no water flow. So make sure that you have the 1/4 inch outer diameter tubing in the right port. And then the last one here, the flow rate is too low. You need that 12 psi pressure of water going through the unit. If you don't have that, it doesn't pick it up and it's not going to show any water flow. So now there's 3 different colors that you might see. You might see red, yellow blinking, and green. So the red light is UV LED fault. So what you're going to do is you're going to unplug it and plug it back in. Now for yellow blinking light, that means that you don't have the voltage that's necessary to the appliance. So you need that 11 volts, at least 11 volts, between 11 and 16 to power the unit. If it doesn't have that, you're going to get a yellow blinking. So go ahead and troubleshoot that back in the coach itself. And then finally green, that is your self-cleaning procedure. That's about a 30-second procedure. You'll turn the water on, it'll turn green for about 30 seconds and then turn off. And then you can turn the water on and you'll have the blue light, which is your good to go light. Thank you for joining us at the Lippert Technical Institute. This has been an aftermarket installation video for the Acuva Wanderer 2.0.